Okay, so Boruto 2 Blue Vortex has some crazy feats already, and it literally just came out, so I want to cover exactly how strong is Boruto right now, as well as what abilities he has or could potentially have. But before we do that, do me a huge favor and show me that you guys like these kinds of videos by dropping a sub, liking the video, and letting me know what kind of video you guys want to see next, and let's jump straight into it. Starting with his arsenal, we have to remember that Boruto has a wide range of abilities that he can utilize, such as ones involving wind, lightning, and water releases. He has access to a variety of Rasengans, including the high compression Rasengan, obviously the regular one, a wind style Rasengan, the vanishing Rasengan, which is also pretty important in the sense that it shows how much of a genius he is, able to imbue the Rasengan with chakra nature, which Kakashi himself was unable to do, although even himself was a genius and at an older age as well. And the new one that we got to see in 2 Blue Vortex, known as the Uzuhiko Rasengan. This takes advantage of the planetary spin, which disorients an opponent and gives perpetual damage, kind of like the Amaterasu. He seems to have a good relation with the toads as well, as he's able to summon them similarly to how Naruto was able to summon a variety of squad. And since Boruto was trained by Kashinkoji, it's obvious that he picked up a couple of, including better sensory and stealth training, and it's likely he even learned how to utilize Sage Mode as well. Finally, Boruto has actually been shown to use the Flying Raijin Jutsu, which was popularized by Minato, and he likely also picked some other ones along the way as well that we have not yet seen. This is all excluding his Karma and Karma abilities, which provide a completely alternative buff to all of his stats, provides abilities such as flight, healing, chakra absorption, space-time ninjutsu, and other Otsutsuki abilities. And Boruto can also use Momoshiki's ability to absorb ninjutsu as well and release it with several times more power. In terms of scaling, Boruto, as he appears in 2 Blue Vortex, is able to immediately blitz and overpower code. Now this is an insane feat that has some really big complications. This is also very important because he was so confident that he could easily kill and overpower code if he wanted. And keep in mind, this is a code with his limiters removed, who's supposedly stronger than Jigen, but potentially weaker than Ishiki. This is also after a 4-year time skip in which we still see flashbacks of him still being active in hunting Boruto, so it's highly unlikely that he's any weaker at this point. If anything, he potentially even a little bit stronger. And remember, Jigen was able to absolutely just dog on Naruto and Sasuke, which were the same ones that fought against Momoshiki and clapped him, while Naruto was nerfed by losing chakra and Momoshiki was buffed by absorbing Kinshiki, who was able to contend with Sasuke in one of Kage's dimensions, so much so that this caused Sasuke to state that Kinshiki and Momoshiki were both threats above Kaguya, and it was stated in the data books that Kinshiki himself was able to split worlds and obliterate all things. Momoshiki also at that point in time and during that fight had some chakra from the 8 and the 9 tails, which obviously were both able to obliterate mountain ranges as we saw in the war arc. He also used some chakra pills on top of this, which Momoshiki himself states that it keeps him youthful, immortal, and invincible, which is obviously hyperbolic in nature since it got overpowered and lost, but it still likely provided a significant buff. All of this on Momoshiki's side, and he still lost to Naruto and Sasuke, whereas a nerfed Jigen just stepped on them, which code should be stronger than. And all of this without Boruto really utilizing much of his arsenal, and without using his karma, he just blatantly overpowered and dominated code. Boruto also dodges an attack here from Kawaki, and if you remember, Kawaki wants to kill Boruto, so there's no reason for him to be holding back here. It's pretty common knowledge that he wants to kill Boruto, so he doesn't even need to hide it. This is also a minor thing that some people might not have picked up on, but Kawaki also states in this same chapter that he thinks he could probably kill Code. Keep in mind this is a weakened Code, whereas Boruto was the one who weakened him and was certain that he could kill him, that it would be easy. These are some minor things, but it kind of points a little bit in Boruto's favor here. The scaling and attack potency here should just be absolutely ridiculous. Let me remind you that towards the end of the war arc, Naruto and Sasuke were already casually faster than light speed. You know, A and B were able to do a double lariat, and this attack is stated to be performed close to light speed via the databook statement, and it's easily dodged by Casey and Naruto point blank. This is also pretty consistent, as the Raikage could also dodge an Amaterasu, which ignites along the line of sight. Also keep in mind that we're referring to KCM 1 Naruto here as well, whereas later he gets KCM 2, and then you can stack Sage Mode on top of that, so it's buff on buff on buff. Other feats easily putting these characters above light speed include, you know, 6-Pass Naruto casually dodging Jubi Madara's Light Fang, which also is stated to be at the speed of light. Naruto should be as fast as, and if not stronger, as an adult, which I've already talked about in previous videos. Even if you disagree, there are still feats that Naruto does as an adult that still puts him on par or above light speed, for example, being able to dodge Delta's light beams, etc. There are even more impressive feats in Naruto Retsuden book, where a base Naruto is able to dodge photons, which are massless particles of energy which move at the speed of light. And obviously, kind of bringing it back, Boruto scaling high enough to blitz Code, who is relative to Jigen, who can easily outspeed Naruto and Sasuke without even being touched, would put Boruto in the category of massively faster than light. Although although it's kind of difficult to quantify after you've already massively surpassed it. So we can just put far greater than 3 times 10 to the 8 meters per second on that category. In terms of specific attack potency, his attack potency would scale in a similar sense based on how confident Boruto was that he just blatantly overpowers Code with his limiters removed. This would place him base stronger than the previous karma forms that he had before the time skip, which is obviously stronger than Naruto and Sasuke, and everyone that came previous, including pretty much every Otsutsuki in his literal base. That's because Jigen alone scales above pretty much every Otsutsuki, so it's unlikely that he has the pure destructive capacity to blow up the earth. There are some caveats which I'm going to talk about later of that scale, but in terms of sheer attack potency, he should technically be able to. For example, he scales above every Otsutsuki up until this point, with the exception of possibly a full Ishiki, which would clearly scale him above Kurama and Toneri. Toneri was able to slice the moon in half, which is hollow in the Naruto verse, but is still a near planetary feat from an Otsutsuki who was one shot by Naruto, who wasn't even trying that hard. This is not an outlier, as Toneri, by virtue of being an Otsutsuki, is a threat greater than the individual tailed beasts, which can already destroy mountain, and an amalgamation of the 10 tails can perform continental threats and potentially even greater. Even Kurama was stated to be able to turn the world to ash, and that's on his own, and as we already know, the tailed beasts become stronger once they have a Jinchuriki, and he, alongside Naruto, once receiving the power of the 6 paths and years of training, also scaled above Kinshiki, who was stated again to be able to split worlds. Even if you take some of these statements as metaphorical and non-literal in nature, rounding back to Toneri's moon feat, it's pretty blatantly near planetary, and the fact that he's significantly below Urashiki, who is likely below Momoshiki, who is below Jigen, who is below Code, who is below Boruto in base, shows that Boruto likely has attack potency as well. Again, keep in mind that much of this is speculation based on how Boruto scales. That, coupled with amps that he can stack on top of this, such as potentially Sage Mode, which I've discussed in the past, is a minimum of a 10 times multiplier. The Jogon, which is canon by the way, I've also talked about that, and the Karma amps would easily place him as the current strongest character in the verse, with the exception of potentially the new evolved Clawgrime and Shibai Otsutsuki. There's also a universal aspect to the power of the Otsutsukis. Now, I know many people are in the camp of saying that as a result that they all scale to universal, but in terms of narratives and the practical likelihood, it's pretty unlikely that Boruto can actually do something of this scale in terms of impacting the primary universe. Now, Momoshiki and Kaguya have been stated to have the ability to create, destroy, and absorb chakra from these vast created universes by virtue of being an Otsutsuki, with Momoshiki's karma enabling him to contain power stronger than Momoshiki himself. Boruto would likely also be able to utilize a feat of this magnitude, but the main caveat is that it's unlikely that this would be on the scale of the main universe again, because although the universes were created by Otsutskis and were stated to be parallel universes containing stars and solar systems, the method of scaling them to universe level is a little bit flawed in nature by virtue of these universes needing to be created by chakra and can be nullified via chakra nullifying truth-seeking orbs, like in Kaguya's case. Now, it's likely that Shibai Otsutsuki, on the other hand, could perform a feat of this magnitude on the main universe, since he utilizes a different form of ninjutsu entirely, known as Shinjutsu, which provides a massive distinction, because although it's in nature similar to ninjutsu, they're more so correlated to natural disasters, which kind of shows the lack of chakra element as we know it, which gives a little bit of a distinction between impacting the main universe and impacting one of the Otsutsuki's fabricated universe. Again, the implication is that Boruto scales as how we previously stated, which is far beneath universal, but is likely closer to dwarf star or potentially solar system if you really want to wank him. But in terms of the universes created by the Otsutskis, he could have an even greater effect. This is further proven by the fact that in the novels, Naruto's base chakra was able to bend the spatial curvature of Kaguya's universe from an integer of 10, which is unitless, which is already concerned with a clan, to 16. So Boruto, with a massively larger chakra reserve at this point in time, would have a greater effect. So just to clarify, for those that I've lost, we have two methods of scaling. We have that to the literal universe in and of itself, in which he would scale to that lower scaling we talked about earlier, and then we have how he scales to the Otsutsuki creations, which is closer to the universal aspect and can be largely discounted. Anyways, if you guys like more videos like this, do me a huge favor, drop a sub. Let me know what you guys think down below. Did I leave anything out? I'm always down for a conversation. Be sure to join the Discord server, as well as checking out our insane channel hoodies and designs. Also, let me know what topics you guys want me to cover next, and I'll catch you in the next one.